So, you're heading back to the office full time. And let's be honest, it can feel like a huge step backward, right? You've got the long commutes, the constant interruptions. But what if I told you we're looking at this all wrong? Today, we're going to flip that script. We're going to reframe the return to office and turn it from this daily grind into your own personal high-performance lab. And look, this isn't just a feeling. The friction is very, very real. Recent data shows that almost half, a staggering 46%, of workers would actually think about quitting their jobs over being forced back into the office. I mean, that's not just a minor complaint, is it? It's a huge shift in how we think about work and, honestly, our lives.
Okay, so what's really going on here? This gets into a fascinating idea called the psychological contract. Think about it. During the whole remote work thing, this sort of unspoken agreement formed between us and our employers, right? It was all about flexibility, about autonomy. So when these mandates come down, it can feel like that trust has been broken. It's not just a logistical headache of figuring out the commute, it's an emotional hit too.
All right, so we get the problem. We've laid it all out. But this is where we're going to make a huge pivot. What if, instead of just trying to survive the office, we could actually use its structure to our advantage? What if we could design a day that's even more productive, more focused, and yeah, even more fulfilling than what we had at home? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today.
This leads us to something I like to call the RTO performance paradox. It sounds a bit fancy, but the idea is simple. The very place that feels like it's designed for nothing but distraction can, if you have the right framework, actually become the place where you do your absolute best work. Kind of weird, right? Let's break down how that's even possible.
Okay, this is probably the most important shift in thinking we're going to talk about. We have got to stop thinking about this as just showing up, just complying. That's passive. We're talking about optimization, which is totally active. It's about being the architect of your day, not just a passenger. It means you take control and you intentionally design a workday that works for your energy, for your focus, and for your goals, all from your office desk.
So how do we do that? Well, first, we need to understand a little bit about our own biology. This isn't about some trendy productivity hack you saw online. This is about working with your brain's natural rhythm instead of constantly fighting against it. And believe it or not, it all comes down to this 90-minute clock that's ticking away inside every single one of us.
And here they are. Meet your ultradian rhythms. These are seriously the unsung heroes of productivity. They're the brain's natural ebb and flow, that cycle of high focus and then, feeling a little tired. The best way to think of them is like waves of energy. And the goal is to learn how to ride those waves all day long, instead of getting crushed by them.
Now, you've probably heard of circadian rhythms, right? That's your big 24-hour sleep-wake cycle. Ultradian rhythms are different. They're the smaller cycles that happen while you're awake. We're talking about these 90 to 120-minute bursts of peak brain power, which are always followed by a dip where your brain needs to recover. Figuring out how to harness these little cycles, that is the key to everything.
So how do we actually use this science? Well, it's actually super simple. It's called the 90-20 performance cycle. Here's how it works. You go all in for 90 minutes. Intense, focused work on just one thing. Then you take a 20-minute break where you intentionally recharge. Let me be clear. This isn't about working less. It's about working way, way smarter in these short, powerful sprints.
Okay, so knowing your rhythm is awesome, but it's really only half the battle. To keep that peak performance going cycle after cycle, you have to think about how you're fueling and moving your body. It all works together. And that's exactly what we're diving into next.
You know that afternoon slump, that 2 p.m. feeling where you just want to put your head on the desk? Well, turns out it's not inevitable. It's actually a choice based on what you eat. If you swap out the sugary snacks and heavy carbs for things like lean protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs, you stabilize your blood sugar. No more massive energy crash. Your brain just keeps firing on all cylinders right through those afternoon work sprints.
And it's not just food, it's movement. We all know sitting for hours is terrible for us. But listen, you don't need to hit the gym at lunch. You just need your desk. Simple things like a few desk push-ups, some chair squats, a quick spinal twist. Just doing that for 60 seconds every hour can totally fight off fatigue, help your posture, and get that crucial blood flowing back to your brain.
Now, let's talk about those 20-minute breaks, because what you do in them is so critical. We all do it, right? We grab our phones and start scrolling, but research shows that's actually a depleting activity. It doesn't recharge you at all. What you want are restorative activities. Take a short walk, do some light stretching,
Heck, even just staring out a window at a tree for 40 seconds can work wonders. That's how you actually recharge your brain's battery.
All right, so you've got your rhythm down. You've got your fuel and movement strategy. But you're in a busy office. How on earth do you protect this perfect new schedule from all the inevitable interruptions, the, hey, you got a second moments? Well, this is where technology can be your best friend.
Seriously, think of these AI scheduling assistants as your own personal bodyguard for your focus time. They act as this cognitive buffer. They scan your calendar, find those golden 90-minute blocks of time, and then they stand guard, defending them from all those non-urgent meetings and pop-ins. They enforce the boundaries for you, so you don't have to be the bad guy.
And there are some amazing tools out there that do this. You've got things like Reclaim.ai and Clockwise. They are absolutely brilliant at this. They don't just manage your calendar appointments, they actively optimize it for deep work. They'll automatically move around your flexible meetings to create these bigger, uninterrupted chunks of focus time. It makes the whole system just work without you having to think about it.
Okay, we've covered the why, the science. We've covered the how, the strategies and the tools. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's build your personal, actionable plan for your workday, your very own performance blueprint. And here's the game plan, broken down into 5 simple steps. First, you've got to audit your tasks, know what you're actually working on. Second, for about a week, map out your energy. When are you sharp? When do you feel that slump? Third, you segment your day. Create those focus blocks and separate them from your admin time. Fourth, and this is important, build in some buffer time for, life. And finally, number 5, you test it and you tweak it. The goal isn't some rigid military-style schedule. It's about creating a flexible framework that actually works for you and your life.
Look, at the end of the day, you probably can't change the return to office mandate. That's out of your hands. But how you experience your workday, that is 100% within your control. By aligning your day with your own biology, you can literally transform the office from a place of distraction into your ultimate competitive advantage. So I'll leave you with this question. What will your blueprint look like?